I'm expecting a crazy week for Bitcoin. A lot of volatility and volume will come into the market. I will tell you everything about Bitcoin and what is going to happen for Bitcoin in this week. So watch this video all the way to the end to be updated about the markets. Slap on that like button to support my channel and let's dive right into the charts. First I want to have a look at the CME gap. Yesterday I talked about the CME gap and that we're going to be trading around this gap during the weekend. And just like I expected, we did trade around this level. Now we can see Bitcoin climbed up a little bit on the 15-minute time frame, but now we are coming back down and the CME gap is fully closed, so that is a good thing to see. And we can leave the gap behind us now and we can trade freely during the week. As I expected, we were not seeing a lot of volatility during the weekend, and now we came back down and we closed the gap, so that is a beautiful thing to see. If we then have a look at the 1 hour time frame, we can see this bear flag unfolding for Bitcoin. We can see a huge dump and then some consolidation to the top side with a rising wedge formation. And a rising wedge formation is a typical bearish bias pattern. And yeah, it most of the time breaks to the downside, retest the previous support as resistance and then come further back down. But we want to see a break to the top side again and then revisit this upper side resistance again. So let's see if Bitcoin can have enough power for the week and revisit the top side of this range again. And today the US markets will be open again, so the Bitcoin ETFs can buy into the Bitcoin heavily again. And yes, last week we saw a huge spike, and yeah, we had a lot of inflow, bullish inflow for the Bitcoin ETF, and it was almost $1.8 billion, so that is an insane inflow. And if we get another inflow like that, like last week, then I believe we will visit this upper side resistance again, and we invalidate this bear flag. But for now we have to be a little bit more bearish and be patient to which side this bear flag is going to break. And if we then have a look at the daily time frame, we can see a lot of touch points in the past as resistance. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4 touch points. We are currently in this uptrend and we are seeing higher lows. And yeah, what we can expect for Bitcoin is that we are going to create a new higher low. Because the trend is up and you always have to trade with the trend. And I want to see a revisit of this previous resistance area, and yeah, eventually we need to break this area. So with all the buying power coming into the markets from the Bitcoin ETFs, I expect that we are eventually going to see a break, a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support, and from there we aim for a new all-time high, because yeah, the all-time high is here. If we break this resistance, then I think we immediately break a new all-time high. So if we break above this resistance area, then I think we will see some exponential gains for Bitcoin. Because every time we touch a certain area, and this is a certain area we have touched, the liquidity gets grabbed and all the orders are getting filled. And yeah, the more times we touch a certain area, the weaker it gets. So I expect that if we're going to see a revisit of this area, the area is already getting weaker and weaker. We eventually will break through it and see some fireworks. And another interesting pattern on the daily time frame is this price squeeze. We can see, of course, multiple touch points on the top side as resistance, but we can also see this beautiful uptrend with multiple touch points on the downside as support. So if we're going to see a bounce from the support, then we can aim for this resistance area again, and eventually Bitcoin has to choose a side, and we either go to break to the upside and then we retest the formation as support and come further back up. And we also have to keep in mind that a bear scenario could play out, and that we're going to break the support, revisit this area as resistance, and then come further back down. But yeah, for now the trend, the bigger trend is up, so I expect that we're going to see a continuation of the uptrend. And in last week we saw the Bitcoin ETF sucked up 2 months of Bitcoin mining supply in the first week of June. So that means that the amount of Bitcoin that is getting mined in 2 months was just bought in 1 week by the Bitcoin ETF. So that is insane. And we saw an inflow of $1.8 billion into the Bitcoin ETFs last week. And that was around 25,729 Bitcoins. And only 3,150 Bitcoin were being mined last week, so that is insane. And that is around 8 times the amount of Bitcoin getting mined. So this could only mean that a big supply shock is eventually going to happen. Because if we just simply look at the demand and supply, the demand is getting higher and higher and the supply is getting just the same. So eventually Bitcoin has to grow in price, and yeah, this will have a very positive effect for the markets. And that's why I expect that we're going to see a break from this level and continuation of the uptrend. And yeah, we will create a new all-time high. And I expect that we are going to see a new all-time high in June. because a lot of power from the Bitcoin ETFs is coming into the market, and yeah, it will push the price again to new highs. I also want to have a look at Ethereum. We can see Ethereum on a daily time frame was at this beautiful support area, and we bounced up because of the spot Ethereum ETF news. We broke through this big resistance, as we can see, and then we retested again. And yeah, on Friday we saw a big dump for Bitcoin, but Ethereum was also dumping, of course. But we can see this support is getting hold strong, and that is a beautiful thing to see. So also here the trend is up now, and I expect that we're going to see a higher low, and eventually we will see a continuation to the top side and maybe retest this regional high, and this will be around the $4,100. And if we have a look at the weekly time frame, we can see Ethereum is also currently close to a new all-time high, and the previous all-time high is around the $4,800. So that's still a nice increase to make from here. And from the current point of trading, we need to see an increase of approximately 30% for a new all-time high. So there's still a lot of room to grow for Ethereum. Another interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is XRP. I'm looking at XRP on the weekly time frame, and on the top side we can see a lot of touch points as resistance, and on the downside a lot of touch points as support. And XRP has been in this weekly consolidation since December 2021, so that's almost for 2.5 years now. And eventually XRP has to pick a side, but yeah, we can still keep inside this consolidation range, and eventually we will see a break to either the top side, retest the previous resistance as support, and then come further back out. But yeah, we can also see a bearish break to the downside, retest the previous support as resistance, and then come further back down. XRP is not having a very volatile year, despite all the crazy gains for all the rest of the altcoins and Bitcoin. But we want to see a little bit more power coming into the market for XRP, and eventually we will need to see that $1 mark getting hit, and from there we can aim for higher targets. But for now we have to be a little bit patient, because yeah, this weekly consolidation is still in play, and we're currently at this big support area, so we need to see a bounce from this area to the top side to remain a little bit more bullish. Because if we're going to see a break from this level and break the support, then we have to become more bearish, and that wouldn't be very good, because yeah, we want to see a little bit more fireworks for XRP in the coming months. So for now I'm keeping an eye on this Bitcoin 1 hour pattern. I'm talking about this bear flag pattern, and we need to keep monitoring this pattern, because if we break to the downside, then we're going to see a more bearish week. But if we can regain this previous resistance area and then come further back up, then we're going to have a more bullish week. Yeah, let's see what happens, and I will keep you guys updated on my Twitter channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click on the thumbs up on your way out. I hope you have a good week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.